Hello. Great to meet you all, and sorry for slight technical problems. Today, we are, as Vicky said, we are discussing our product, which is called Customer Insight Analytics. And at the beginning, I just would like to share with you briefly what are the key benefits of how our customers are actually realizing the benefits using our product. So first of all, it's the product helps you to understand the reason of the interactions. And of course, if you have the detailed analysis and if you understand the customer calls, it can help you to increase the efficiency by removing the root causes of the client problems. And that leads to quite an increase in the efficiency, even up to 28% on the call centers, which we have achieved with our clients. Of course, as we are the company which are also helping with automation, we are helping to increase the level of automation by understanding which areas are good to automate. And basically, the level of automation can be then even increased to more than 50%. And last but not least, which is very important in the analytics, we focus very much on quality, and basically that is then can be measured through the NPS index, and by training your agents, by understanding how they are performing, how your clients are successful and satisfied. Of course, you can also boost your NPS index up to 20%. So right now, I will go into our platform, and you share. Okay, perfect. And just trying to switch the presentations. Perfect. So I hope you can all see our digital studio, and our digital studio is basically a web interface through which you are basically managing all our products. Yeah? And one of the products which we'll be today focusing on is the Customer Insight Analytics. And basically, in the Customer Insight Analytics, when you are inside our studio, you can basically, first of all, have an ability to create the project. That's very important. Creating the project gives you a ability to basically set up your analytics and set up the view which you want to look at. Yeah, and this is basically done easily in our environment by button creating the project using the name. For example, we can do webinar test. And of course you can always add the description, and because you have multiple projects in your organization, then you can help yourself by describing the elements. So for example, here we go, testing project. Oh, sorry, I have a slight typos. Project for our webinar. Of course, we are supporting different project types. At this moment, you will see that we have a project type calls and emails, but basically, it's to process the voice input and process the text input. That's what is the difference. Yeah. Where today we will be showing you how to process the calls inputs, and from that perspective, it's of course important that in the calls project type there is a involved speech-to-text technology, which helps to transfer voice to text, and that then changes is the input for the analytics. Of course, we have a wide range of languages supported already. Today, for our purposes, we will focus on English, but of course, adding any further language is for us reasonably easy. So in case your business requires it, we can add further languages and work on that. When you're happy with the standard setup, with the basic setup of your project, you just create a project, and basically your project is created. In that case, today, in this case, when you want to change the setting of your project, and that we'll focus on today, you basically open this screen where basically you have the ability of setting up the project for your needs. We believe that the great advantage of our solution is that we are combining the approaches of using the standard methods of classifying and categorizing data through the NLP models. So that was the AI models that were basically used or are currently used still, and they require training, and they require some work at the beginning. And of course, we are combining the strength of the large language models, which we'll focus on today because we have a limited time. So I just wanted to show you how we are using large language models in order to build the analytics. So from that perspective, you can simply shift to LLM, and that already changes the view, because in the LLM configuration, you don't need to actually enter the training data. You don't need to focus on training the categories, but you're already using pre-trained model in order to manage your analytics. Also, in our product, we have already prepared for you a large set of parameters that are ready for you to use. So, of course, you can define your own parameters, but by choosing show predefined groups, you can already see that we have, for example, pre-prepared this type of reports for your view. What we can focus today is that I will select the basic analytics. What will basic analytics gives me? Yeah, the basic analytics will give me out of the box, without a need for you to train the model or to add the data. Will give you a sentiment client at the beginning of the call, at the end of the call. Will give you an average sentiment agent. Will give you summary, which is very important element for showing for increasing the efficiency of your call center. That can be then entered into the CRM or in any other system that you need. Of course, we can extract the data if we find them in the conversation. So, for example, like a client first name, last name, phone number, email, contract number, and so on and so forth. And of course, category. Category is very important because you want to categorize your calls, categorize your email, categorize your chats. And here we have two options. Either there is a predefined set of categories, and then we use them as a parameter and as an input, which then we will categorize your input based on your predefined categories, or we suggest category, which is of course very important for you as well, where you can take your data and we can do a topic modeling exercise for you, when we, without a knowledge, will ask artificial intelligence, please suggest the category, and you can, for example, do topic discovery. Yeah. So during the time of your business, there could be some new topics coming in, new topics popping up, and the suggest category is a very powerful tool then to discover new elements that are happening in your business. So this is the first category which I selected. Of course, you can select more. So here, except of basic, I will be also quite interested about how my agents are basically adhering to the call script that I gave them to follow. This is a very basic and elementary introduction to the topic, but is already ready for you. Of course, if you decide to enter into the project with us, we are more than happy to add more parameters into the call script discussion. But looking at what we have already, yeah. Has the agent introduced themselves? Has they addressed your client by name? Has they put the identification, yeah, successfully, yeah, either through some parameters like address or bird name or anything? Has your agent repeated and recapitulated the problem? Meaning that here we are measuring that they redo the reformulate the customer request. Did they offer another help? Yeah, because customer is calling with one problem, but maybe the problem is somewhere else. And of course, was there a farewell, meaning like nicely end of the call? And that is the call script, the basic call script that basically 99% of the call centers are following. And as I mentioned, we can add more and more parameters in order to do. So this is how easy, and that's what I wanted to show you, how easy is to basically set up the analytics with our tool. And as I mentioned, webinar test is basically ready. We have 2 prompts here, and basically we are ready to start following all these elements. And before moving on, I will just ask our other colleagues if maybe there are some questions or some other elements, and before moving to the reports.
Okay, cool. So we actually have a few questions here today. So the very first one question is how we are handling the security of the analyzed data, especially when you are using GPT technology.
Sorry.
Yeah. How are we dealing with the security of the analyzed data when we are using the GPT technology?
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of concerns around the security around the block, of course, because we are having personal data in the emails and in the calls. And basically, what is very important to understand that we are working in a B2B environment, and we are using only approved models from GPT models, and that are hosted in the Microsoft Azure. And those models are stateless. So meaning that when we are entering the data into the model, they are performing the analysis and we receive the response back. But the data which we entered into the model are not staying there and are not used for training. And that's the very important element.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Zenon. And I have one question maybe I can actually answer because it's towards the delivery side to give you a little bit of a break. The question is pretty much how long does it take to get this all up and running? So pretty much it really depends on the use case that you want to use it. But in general, the Digital Studio is up and running already now. And as you saw from Zenon's presentation, it's quite easy to use. So pretty much we give you the access to the Digital Studio. We together agree on exactly how the analytics and what you should like to focus on. So that's like a one workshop, maybe 2. And then the main part and the most, I would say, challenging is just to agree how to get the recordings from your end to our end. We can either do it that we agree on some kind of a shared storage, or we can automate the whole process that as soon as the recording is done, it's being sent to the storage to be processed later on. So pretty much to answer the question on how long does it take, when it comes from the effort point of view, just a couple of Mondays. When it comes from the time, it really depends on how long we will be discussing this together. But again, it could be done in a couple of weeks. So it's quite straightforward. And I think we might have a time for one more question before we continue with the presentation. So we already discussed the delivery timeline and we discussed the privacy of the data, but Zenon, can you also maybe suggest on how many of those parameters is usually being used? You mentioned that you can create your own, but if there's some kind of like a general number?
Thank you for that question. Of course, it's quite individual, but if I would say, in general, we are focusing in our customer implementation on 3 areas, as I mentioned. The first area is basically efficiency. Yeah, so we are looking at understanding why customers are calling, and that's the categories. Yeah, so mainly categories, subcategories, their correlation between them, and so on and so forth. I will show you in a little sec in the report. So that's first area. Second area is the quality, as I mentioned. Yeah, so basically how the agents are keeping the customer happy what is the sentiment of the client at the beginning, at the end. Yeah, had they managed the call properly? Has they basically were there some issues in the call which we are actually focusing, for example, on, or if there are maybe long breaks or something like that. So this is basically second area, and the last area is actually very increasing. To our customers, they also some customers are approaching some regulatory elements which actually someone is requiring them to focus on. Yeah, it could be financial institution, it could be energy providers, and so on and so forth. When there is a certain regulated sector and they need that during this interaction there is a certain element mentioned, and that's how we are also able to control the element. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, sorry, one last question actually came in. What integrations are possible?
Mm-hmm. So don't have really a quick slide here, but from the integration perspective, we are definitely integrating with the most common contact centers on the market. We can mention Genesis, we can mention Avaya, we can mention Cisco. All of this have already ready connectors, and we are okay to integrate. Of course, Twilio is our home-based integration. We are having a Vonage integration, Telnix, and so on and so forth. So from the global platforms, I would say support is there. We are working now on the integration to Teams, so that's gonna be quite fast. And basically from the text channels, of course, email, any chats that are coming in, WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. SMS is even, yeah, that's becoming also a topic for a number of our clients. So I would say from the channel perspective, I would say it's an omni-channel platform, and all the channels which you normally use are supported.
Okay, perfect. So I think we are actually right on time. So I'm going to give the sharing back to you, Zenon.
Super. So I'm going to share again, and where I am here. Yes. Perfect. So hopefully you can see my screen. Right now I'm sharing, yeah. And right now I actually moved from the project setting to actually to other part of the project, which is how to show the analysis of the interactions. Yeah, I have selected already quite larger sum of the analytics, which you can see, and these are the predefined dashboards. Yeah, but of course you can adjust them. It's either by yourself. We can teach you how to adjust them, or during the implementation we can help you to build the dashboards which you are interested in. And as I mentioned, the first dashboard which we will focus on is based on the interaction reasons and statistics. As I mentioned, this is driving efficiency. So first of all, understand why customers are calling. Yeah? So here you can see, for example, the sample dashboard of analytics of 2,000 calls, which are coming from the energy industry. Of course, at the beginning, there are some raw data, meaning or hard data. Yeah, how many calls, how they were split during the day, what was the average amount of time, and so on and so forth. These numbers you're probably already having in your call center or in your solution. Where it's becoming more interesting is when we are starting to do the cognitive analytics, as I mentioned, topic modeling, categories. That's the true power of the tool. Yeah. So first of all, as I mentioned, we can understand the dominant topic of the conversation, and mostly in the conversation there are also minor topics. Yeah. So that's how we are basically taking that from the conversation. Yeah. And of course, we can at the same time correlate those data. Yeah. So, for example, here it's quite clear that if the customers are calling and requiring the data about the contract, in most of the time they want to change the supplier. So very interesting insight for the call centers, because this is where you can potentially win or lose the customer. Yeah. Of course, also maybe an area which can be maybe prone for automation. If the customers are calling in with the receivables, more than 50% of calls is around where shall I pay, which maybe could be easier automated, or by improving your communication to your client, maybe these calls could be avoided completely. Yeah. So this is basically how then you're focusing on reasons, looking at them, where you can have risks for your business, where you can have opportunities to win, and where you have opportunities to save. Additionally, of course, we can put that in the heat map. And a second parameter which I was mentioning is that was this call script or call script basic. We are very interested about how your operators or agents are adhering to this call script. Yeah, and we are interested. Have they introduced the company? Yeah, that's a very important element for me. Themselves. Do they offer help? Did they identify the customer properly by different parameters, and so on and so forth? Yeah, so that's the quite important element. As I mentioned, different customers are focusing on different elements, but usually this beginning of the call, understanding, offering help, and farewell is pretty common across the call centers. And if you decide for our platform, you have it out of the box. Very interesting and important element is a cross-sell, upsell. Of course, a lot of call centers are also focusing on sales. So the incoming call is the opportunity to actually provide more services or other services. And here, for example, is in case they offered the cross-sell, what type of cross-sell was offered, which is again very important for you. You're running your sales campaign, you're promoting some of the product. You should be seeing that in the numbers that there is a cross-sell and that your product, which you are actually focusing on at this stage, is going, and your agents are offering it. Another feature which is very cool and our clients love it, and I believe your agents and operators will love it as well, is after each interaction, call, email, chat, anything, we are creating a summary for you. So this is a perfect feature of the large language models which you already know. With the integration to your CRM or to your call center system, basically after the call is done, the summary is there, and the post processing time for your operator is going from minutes to seconds. And that's the another great feature which helps to build the business case, because the summary is structured, it's always there, and basically is not require an effort from the operator. Of course, all the calls or all the elements are recorded. You can, or if you're doing recording in your call center, we can link that recording to our environment, and here you can actually work with the recordings. Yeah? You can play them. Here you will not hear it because it's in my ears. You can search in them. So for example, if you wanna see where is the keywords, you can jump to them, skip to them, and so on and so forth. Of course, it's a diarized effort where you can see that there is a conversation, agent, customer, and that is basically how it goes. Going back to the, sorry, I just need to right now. Yep, going back to our workspace. I hope that we are still okay with time. No, going back to insights, I wanted to focus, show you now a bit more softer element of the analytics. Now we're focusing a little bit on the harder one, meaning that give me the categories, understand the efficiency, show me how our agents are focusing on the call scripts. We are now entering the soft part, client sentiment, and that has been a holy grail for the analytics for a long time. And I'm quite happy that right now we have really great tools in order to put this forward and make this feature actually useful and for you. Previously, maybe you were working with the solutions that you were measuring the sentiment from 0 to 100, and we believe that we need to move forward already with how the technology progress. So at this moment, we are already giving the names to the or we are identifying the type of the sentiment. Yeah. So from that perspective, we are measuring the sentiment at the beginning of the interaction. A very important element. So the client at the beginning was relieved or is frustrated, or maybe is confused and they don't know what is happening. The call is going on, and at the end, we would like the frustrated clients to be relieved, relieved clients to be to be gratituded. So from that perspective, that seems to be as a quite a good stuff. But still, if I wanted to show, I still have, for example, 49 calls that started with frustration and ended with frustration. And that's then the element for you, that you can focus on those calls, you can focus on the operators that are handling those difficult elements, provide more training, provide more support, or maybe improve the process so your clients do not get frustrated. On top of the sentiment, we're of course focusing also on the speech volume. That's a measure that we want to understand, maybe that your client or your operator is increasing the voice. There could be a different reason why. Maybe there's a noisy environment and so on and so forth, or maybe there is certain emotion behind that. So we shall address that. Gaps. Yeah, we have actually developed this feature together with our clients because we found out that if there are gaps more than 6 seconds in the on the operator side, I will be very specific, in the process, that indicates to us certain type of issues. Yeah? And if there is a lot of gaps, and you could see that, for example, here, then you have a list of your operator and the amount of gaps they are having in their calls. That means that they are struggling with something. Yeah, the systems could be slow. Maybe they don't have a sufficient knowledge. Maybe they are unsure about the response, or there could be a different reasons, and that can actually help you to focus on, for example, on the people that have a lot of gaps versus that have, and that can be like your input for the coaching session once meeting with the operator, and that basically helps you to basically understand a bit more softer elements. But again, this is a very a quick run through of our abilities, and you can build more. Currently, we are focusing with our clients to build even complex NPS scenarios. So we're measuring, for example, 5 criteria within each interaction. For each criteria, we're calculating the result, and basically when the NPS is coming out after each and every call, your operator can actually see his or her performance throughout the week and throughout the month. They can see, okay, it's a half of the month, and I'm scoring 7, but I need to reach 8.5 in order to get my bonus, or in order to meet my KPIs. So they can basically increase their effort in order to improve the quality. Of course, it can be also automated in terms of the providing the NPS from the AI, providing the NPS from the human evaluation, matching that, and basically improving the whole system. So that's how we are working currently with the analytics. As I mentioned, I showed you some sample dashboards, and happy to enter more questions or explain other areas of the product if there is an interest.
Absolutely. We actually got a few questions, so let's go one by one. So first of all, the first question is actually if you are analyzing just text or also voice, or how we are dealing with that.
Mm-hmm. So as I showed at the beginning, when you are creating a project type, you are selecting if it's a call or meeting, because we are also heading into the direction of looking at, for example, deploying the analytics on the branch, which for us seems to be very great part of the product. And the voice input is then you select calls. That means that when you do it, in the pipeline of processing your input, the speech-to-text engine is automatically there, the language detection is automatically there, and you do not have to worry about that. So you just enter your recordings or you enter your voice input. The system takes automatically care of transcriptions, language detection, can be even translated if you're willing. All these elements are configurable within our solution, and then it enters into the analytics. So that's one part. And if you select text, of course, in that case, you do not need this part of the speech to text because text is already coming in, but all the elements which I already mentioned are part of the analytics as well. So if you need to detect language, translate, and so on and so forth, this can be enabled for you as well.
Perfect. So we have one more, and it goes more towards the speech to text. So first question is, how long does it take to actually run the speech to text of a, let's say, maybe 5-minute recording? And the follow-up is here is, especially if it's quite a long, the course can be quite long, how do we address the pricing for that? If there's any optimization.
Super. So let me split those two topics to group. I will first answer the time. There's a magical word is all hardware kind of function, but to give you more input, in general, as a rule of thumb, if we are processing the calls in terms of after the post-processing. So we receive the recording and we start processing the recording, and we are using standard setup of our services. It's usually around half of the time, so 50%. So 5-minute call will be transcribed in 2.5 minutes as a rule of thumb. Yeah. Of course, if we increase and boost the hardware, we can decrease, or maybe if we want to lower the cost and we're happy that, for example, 5 minutes is 5 minutes, then of course we need less resources and the costs are lower. Of course, there is also option to do it in real time. Yeah, there can be use cases, and we are working on such use cases that the transcription is going actually in real time. It can be even helpful maybe for some sort of like advisory during the call for the agents and for the operators. Of course, the costs are a bit higher because you need to have infrastructure ready to handle the load. But of course, this is an option as well. So that's the transcription and technically how long it takes. For the costs, yeah, of course, there is if we want to process the calls, the cost is a factor that is coming in, and that's why we are trying to help our clients with that element, and we have developed and tested, and also we have a production running of our own speech to text. So in our solution, you can actually select which speech to text engine you would like to use. As a standard, you can use, for example, maybe Google or Microsoft, but you know the costs there. If you have maybe already your own engine, we are just happy to take your transcripts. But if you need help with the costs, our engine is usually more than 50% or maybe even less cost than the standard engines on the market, with just very small drop of the accuracy. Yeah. So if I would take an example, if we can achieve at the 95%, for example, on Azure, on our engine, you can probably achieve around 90, which for analytics is actually perfect because you don't need completely perfect transcription. The pre-processing and post-processing of the analytics will take care of for a lot of things which are not 100% clear.
Thank you, Zenon. And we have one more question here regarding if someone is new to AI when it comes to the collections from customers, and they would like to try it. Is there any demo or recording showing a real-life scenario?
Mm-hmm. For sure, the demo is for us very easily achievable. Even that can be done on the fly. So we need data. Yeah. So in case you have recordings, we can agree on a very fast call. You can give us the recordings on the call. If we are happy with our standard reports, we can add them, and you can basically have your analytics in minutes. So that's a very simple scenario. We do it very often for our customers. So yes, that is the easiest way how to check our platform. It's free of charge, of course. Either if you have a larger volume, for example, I don't know, 100 calls or 500 calls, you can hand them over to you. You have your analytics within the same day or the next day. Depends on how fast you want to process that.
Yeah, and maybe I might add here that in case for whatever reason you don't want to share your recordings or you don't want to have them, you're just thinking for the future, we have a couple of recordings that are anonymized, and we are happy to share those with you. So it will be all in our platform with our recordings, so you really don't need to share any data. If you would be just trying to, let's say, try our digital studio and have the feel for it. Okay, I have a few more questions here, actually.
Oh, wow. It's a large Q&A today.
But yeah, we have 5 more minutes. So hopefully we'll do most of those. If we don't, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Either we didn't get to them today, or you just thought of them a bit later on. So please reach out in case we don't cover that today. Yeah, so there's actually a question to our digital studio. Is there a limit to the number of users?
No, there is no limit. Our digital studio is part of the license, which you are actually acquiring from us, and there is no limit of how many users you will give access to. The same as the reports, you can make a reports for different groups. So there can be a different report for your agents. There can be a different report for your team leaders. There can be a different report for your management, for your sales guys, for your customer care guys. So it's purely configurable and all within one license cost.
Okay, cool. And another one. What is the pricing? That one.
Great question, and as a salesperson, I would say it depends. But I would say what kind of elements you factor in into the pricing. So first element is setup cost, and I'm quite happy to say that we are now managing a lot of projects with either minimum or really zero setup cost, because if you give us your emails or your recordings and you use our standard setup of the product, we are up from first meeting. You can have basically the reports within the same week. So we are removing this barrier for our clients to enter the great world of analytics by basically minimizing or removing the setup costs. Of course, if you would be a large enterprise and having a very complex environment, and you want us to connect 5 channels, we'll be talking about I don't know, 10-15 man days, but this is still quite achievable. For the running cost, you will be looking at paying a fixed license cost, which is monthly, which also a little bit depends on the on the scale of the infrastructure. Of course, it's a little bit different to analyze 1,000 calls per month, and a little bit different to analyze 100,000 calls per month. But there is a fixed license cost which includes license, cloud support, and maintenance. Maintenance meaning all the new features that we are bringing into our product, and we are bringing them on the bi-weekly basis, are automatically included in your costs. And additionally, there are transactional costs. They are linked to transcriptions. We already mentioned that. So the transcription is billed per hour. And then for the transactions that are actually going through the large language models, so there is a average price per one transaction, and you will, based on this transaction, you will receive all the data which it will already show you, including the summary. So that's how it's built, and I'm happy to discuss the fit offer for you when you contact us.
Perfect. And I think actually you have time for one last question. So Zeno, the last one for you today. Can we do on-prem installation? Because we spent quite a lot of time discussing cloud and cloud services. So maybe if we can share.
Yes, we can. Most of the components are deployable on-prem, including our NLP models, in case you decide to use NLP models, for example, for data extraction or maybe some categorization that you need. So that is all deployable on-prem. Speech-to-text is deployable on-prem, and only element that currently is not available on-prem are the large language models. We are using commercial versions of GPT in Microsoft Azure. We are using GPT 3.5 and GPT 4, depends on how complex is your analytics, but 3.5 prevails. And those models are currently not available on-prem. I don't want to hinge it, but we believe that during the next year, this will change. So stay tuned and definitely follow us, because once this will become available, of course, we will be very happy to offer you also your on-prem fine-tuned large language models. And that's one of our developments for next year.
Okay, perfect. So I guess with this message and this bit of a teaser on what to look for, we need to wrap it up today. We are out of time. So I would like to thank Zenon for the great presentation. And I would like to thank you all for joining us today. And we believe that there are a lot of news in this area coming in. So as Zenon said, please stay tuned, and we will be happy to see you again on our next webinar. So have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you very much.